What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Ariel Helwani goes off on Jon Jones for Tom Aspinall situation. Dana White has been pretty optimistic about a potential fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall happening. But after this past weekend's UFC 316 card in Newark, members of the press informed the UFC president that Jones has been open about how he doesn't even care if he's stripped of the belt. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. On Monday's episode of the Ariel Helwani show, the longtime MMA insider unloaded on Jones for, quote, making a mockery of the heavyweight title, the sport of mixed martial arts, and the UFC as an organization, considering that the UFC reportedly met his demands for the fight, but he still doesn't want to throw down with Aspinall. According to Helwani, Jones is still interested in fighting, but he has no interest in fighting Tom Aspinall in the title unification bout.
Confirmation. Jon Jones was offered the deal and accepted the deal. Rewind. Jon Jones was offered the deal. I said it. He finally accepted. Now, that's the most significant thing that Dana White has said regarding this in a very long time. The problem is he didn't tell you the whole story. He didn't tell you about and then he went back on his word. He didn't tell you about that part. Eventually that part will come out, but he didn't tell you about that part right then and there. But there it is. This is when the story is going to be really written, because whenever he comes out and tells the story of why this fight didn't happen, he's going to say he agreed and then he backed out. The glazing is over.
As Dana White told members of the press, he and the UFC will figure everything out on Tuesday. Tom Aspinall training with Paddy Pimblett. Footage was released of Tom Aspinall training with Paddy Pimblett, and the two worked on takedowns and submissions together. Tom showed praise for Paddy's high-level wrestling. Here's the clip.
What is this one? Just mixing. Like it. Oh, Tom. I'm gonna do that same one fight though. That knows to be listening.
Probably some super high level guy, so it's exactly what I expected. I've been known Paddy like at least 10 years. I've seen him fight enough. I know what he's all about. He's very, very good. I would say I'm impressed, but I was impressed anyway. That's what I was expecting.
Boy,
No, it's nice that.
Tom also talked with Paddy about Jon Jones and how he's holding up the heavyweight division. Tom said it's out of his hands and unfortunate. Here's what he had to say.
And it's even more in that case when you're the reigning heavyweight champion of the world and you've got someone holding.
It is crazy.
Heavyweight
It is a
champion
crazy situation, but there's a lot of politics isn't there in the UFC at the top levels, and it's just like out of my hands, so there's nothing I can really do about it.
UFC's pound-for-pound rankings updated. Earlier this morning, the UFC's pound-for-pound rankings were updated. Merab has now officially jumped up 2 spots in the rankings and is ranked number 2 above Jon Jones. Jack Della Maddalena also moved up 1 spot and is now ranked number 8. And Sean O'Malley is officially off the pound-for-pound list. As for the women's division, Kayla Harrison moved up 4 spots and is now ranked number 3 in the women's pound-for-pound rankings. She reacted to the new rankings, saying, "Steady climbing." What are your thoughts on the new rankings? Let us know in the comments below. Joaquin Buckley believes Islam Makhachev wouldn't fight him. While the UFC has not announced a date yet, it's no secret that Islam Makhachev is expected to fight Jack Della Maddalena sometime before the end of the year. The way Joaquin Buckley sees things, however, if he winds up beating Kamaru Usman, he deserves to fight for the title instead of Makhachev. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, Buckley weighed in on the welterweight title picture, explaining that even if both he and Makhachev win their upcoming fights, he doesn't see a fight between the two of them happening.
And you already know you got this guy from 155 coming up thinking he's gonna take my spot, right? Nah, we can't have it. I truly believe that, with everything that's coming, the JDM fight and Islam fight is not a massive fight to make. And don't get it twisted. If Islam does get blessed with that title shot and he does beat JDM, he's not gonna stay there. He gonna retire. He gonna get up out of there quick, right? Because he know he's not a natural 170 fighter. And especially with myself, he definitely gonna run from a person like me.
Of course, before Buckley is in a position to fight for the title, he'll have to get through Kamaru Usman, who's eager to get back in the win column. In footage from training camp released via his YouTube channel, Kamaru can be seen submitting Justin Gaethje with a head and arm choke. Considering Buckley's never been submitted before, we could be in for some epic grappling exchanges on Saturday night if the fight goes to the ground. Dana White reveals huge Netflix deal for Canelo versus Crawford. Earlier this week, we reported Dana White shutting down rumors of him not being the promoter of the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford boxing match. Well, today, Dana White revealed on social media that the Canelo v. Crawford match will be on Netflix and is scheduled for September 13th in Las Vegas. Here's what Dana had to say. Turkey wants to make the biggest fights that the fans want to see in boxing, and this is right up my alley. Are you kidding me that the first boxing fight I'm gonna get to promote is Canelo versus Crawford? It's literally a once-in-a-lifetime fight, live on Saturday, September 13th, streaming globally on Netflix. Two of the greatest boxers in the sport will meet in a historic fight from Las Vegas. It's very interesting that Dana White chose Netflix for this event. Do you think the UFC could also sign with Netflix to help grow the brand? Let us know down in the comments below. Merab reveals backstage conversation with Cory Sandhagen. After his big win over Sugar Sean O'Malley on Saturday night, Merab Dvalishvili welcomed a fight with Cory Sandhagen, who was sitting cage side during his post-fight Octagon interview. During Monday's appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Dvalishvili spoke about the situation, explaining why the fight makes sense and why he's excited about the stylistic matchup between the two. I tell him he's the most deserving contender today, especially we never fought each other, and he was always a company guy and always fighting the best guys, and he beat a lot of good guys. He's a new style, and we never fight each other, and we know there is no MMA math. The style makes the fight, and Cory, he's a different style. It'll be a test for me. On the heels of Saturday's card, the UFC also shared some footage of Dvalishvili and Sandhagen backstage, with the champion telling the Sandman that he's the most deserving guy in the division, and he respects him as a competitor. The way Henry Cejudo sees things, if the champion gets through Sandhagen, then he deserves to sit atop the UFC's pound-for-pound ladder. During the latest episode of he and Kamaru Usman's pound-for-pound show, he explained why.
He beats Cory Sandhagen on this fight, yes. I'm going to put him at pound for pound the best fighter in the world, dude. 100%. I know. But think about it. It's like a lot of...
It's a good argument.
You can't deny it, Kamaru. Especially if he gets 4 fights this year, bro. Like, hey, listen, I'm a hater, but I also recognize...
While the champion's expected to fight Cory Sandhagen next, Dvalishvili revealed that if Alexandre Pantoja decides to move up, he would welcome a fight with the flyweight champion in the future. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in this fight. I respect Pantoja. He will be a tough opponent for me. If Pantoja wins this, and if the UFC wants this, I have no problem with that. Although the champ plans to take a vacation after Saturday's win, he's open to defending his belt again before the end of the year on either the Madison Square Garden card in November or the final pay-per-view card of the year in December. Diego Lopes talks about next UFC fight. When news emerged indicating that the UFC was looking to book a fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez, many fans wondered why Rodriguez and Diego Lopes weren't fighting given their beef. In an Instagram post, Lopes gave fans a breakdown of everything that's happened since he fought Alexander Volkanovski. Let's get to the facts. After the fight versus Volk, UFC contacted me asking how I was doing. I told them all the recommendations the doctors gave me, that I would be ready to fight in September. They offered Aaron Pico. I said yes. 2 days later, they offered me Gene Silva. I said yes. When UFC changes UFC night to San Antonio, Yair Rodriguez, I said yes. I also suggested offering the fight versus Movsar or Lerone. If you have any doubts, ask Dana, Hunter, or Sean if I've ever turned down a fight. The day I refuse or don't accept a fight, it must be because of a very serious health problem, or that I'm really unable to fight. My career was built on accepting fights. Not for nothing, I have 33 professional fights. He then doubled down, calling out Yair Rodriguez in a post that translates to, "Hey, Yair Rodriguez, I just found out you got a call from Hunter denying the fight with me at Noche UFC. Where's the guy who was in front of me at the press conference?" With plenty of fans wanting to see Lopes and Rodriguez throw down, El Pantera revealed in an Instagram video that he's still recovering from an injury. But even if he weren't, he'd rather fight Lopes in the streets instead of in the cage. I saw somewhere that Diego Lopes is saying, I don't want to fight him, and that's absolutely not the case. Honestly, I was a little disappointed with the UFC for the fact that they offered me a fight with him because yeah, they did recently offer me that fight. Let's rewind a bit. What happened? When I had the opportunity to fight Diego, he said no because I was coming off a loss. Now he's coming off a loss and wants to fight me. That doesn't make sense to me. That's one thing. Another thing is, obviously, I've got no problem fighting him. If you ask me, I'd rather fight him in the damn street because for me, a fight with him in a company doesn't do anything. They're not going to pay me more. It doesn't do a damn thing. It doesn't put me in a better position either because he's coming off a loss. Lopes then fired back at the clip on Instagram in a story post that translates to, "What a stupid thing to say, I refuse to fight. The fight was already scheduled to be the main event of UFC Mexico in February. I had accepted, while you were just going around in circles. The UFC changed plans and called me up to fight for the title. Fighting in the street? No, bro. I don't recommend that. I'm too calm because I know what I'm capable of. It's better to have a referee involved. Given the bad blood between the two, hopefully the UFC can make this fight happen. Kayla Harrison talks about Amanda Nunes' sparring session. Throughout most of her career, Amanda Nunes trained at American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida. That is, until she decided to train at her own private gym, because she knew that one day, a fight between her and Harrison would happen. Before that, however, back when Nunes was still at ATT and Harrison was traveling around the US trying to figure out where she was going to train, the two actually sparred when Harrison visited the gym. During an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show on Monday, Harrison reflected on the sparring session. I came down to visit. I went to Jersey, I went to Vegas, and then I came here to visit, and I sparred with her. Actually on day 2. She kicked ass, but one of us stopped after 2 rounds. I was like, this girl is the best in the world. This is it. If you want to be the best, you gotta train with the best. I had been training for a couple of months. Harrison, who shared a harrowing image of herself in the sauna cutting weight, also spoke about how she manages to get down to 135. For 15 weeks, I'm on a diet. I only eat what my chef gives to me. If I get really crazy urges or cravings, I'll have a spoon of peanut butter. I think I did that 3 times during the camp. 14 weeks out, I started walking, so every single day I walk 6 miles. I bike for 2 hours, or I swim for like an hour and a half. On Sundays, I usually walk 8. That's on top of the 2 other training sessions I do a day. In the morning, I'm going live hard, either sparring or grappling. At night, I'm drilling, and then 6 weeks out, I start heat acclimation. It's really hard. I just have to keep telling myself that it's chosen suffering and that it'll be worth it. Once Harrison returned back to Florida, ATT threw her a big welcome home party, with fighters like Dustin Poirier and Alexandre Pantoja there to celebrate with her. Daniel Cormier says it doesn't get easier for O'Malley after UFC 316 loss. While Sugar Sean O'Malley entered into Saturday's rematch with Merab REVEALS healthy and motivated to avenge his Noche UFC loss, the former champion wound up getting submitted for the first time in his UFC career. The way Daniel Cormier sees things, O'Malley is likely to have a hard time getting back into title contention, considering he's coming off back-to-back losses to the champion, and bantamweight is one of, if not the most single-stacked division in the UFC right now. During an appearance on SportsCenter after the event ended, DC explained, "He just lost to the champion twice. Until there's a changeover, it'll be hard for Sean O'Malley to work his way back into a title opportunity, and he might find himself standing across from Umar Nurmagomedov. It doesn't get easier for the Sugar Show." Despite DC's belief that O'Malley faces a tough road ahead, Chael Sonnen believes that Sugar Sean's star power hasn't been diminished by the loss, and he's still the biggest star in the UFC. He's the sport's biggest star, and he doesn't have a championship. Behind him is Alex Pereira, who has the same thing in common. The 2 burning questions now are, when will O'Malley return to action? And when the time comes, who will he fight? With the MMA community buzzing about the fight, hopefully we get some news ASAP. UFC fighter pulls out of UFC 317 main card fight. On Monday, Manel Kape revealed that he suffered a fractured foot in training that'll force him out of his UFC 317 fight against Brandon Royval. In a post on social media, Kape showed fans his x-ray and footage of the injury, which happened while sparring. Along with the photo and video, Starboy wrote, "With great regret, I come to inform you that I am out of the next UFC 317 competition. I suffered a foot fracture during training, and after a medical evaluation, I was instructed to have surgery and focus 100% on recovery. It's not easy to stay out of something I've been preparing for with so much dedication, and without a doubt, this would be the most advantageous fight of my career. But I understand that this is just another challenge on the way, and I trust the plans that Allah has for me. I sincerely thank everyone who is with me. We remain firm, stronger with each obstacle. The battle was only postponed. I'll be back soon." While many people in the MMA community have called out Kape for pulling out of fights over the years, he then followed it up adding, "I've already suffered several injuries during training. I don't think I've ever entered a fight without injury and 100% healthy. But pull out of the fight was never optional unless I can't walk. Just to make it clear, this is the second time I got out of a fight, and for injuries, that surgery is necessary." After Brandon Royval reacted to the news, Starboy quickly fired back. "The thing is, I don't pull out from a fight for diarrhea and concussions. If I don't break my bones, I'll keep fighting. I'm different. Don't compare yourself to me." While Joshua Van will be stepping in after his big win this past weekend, which helped him buy his mama a house, Amir Albazi tried to throw his name into the hat too. "Just heard B. Royval don't have an opponent. UFC, I'm here." When one fan joked that Albazi's gotta be quicker than that, he joked, "Yeah, I know. Back to the apex I go." And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. After Van stepped in, Brandon Royval released a video on social media explaining the situation.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Makhachev is out. Joshua Van is stepping in. I have zero idea on like the extent of Makhachev's injuries, but I do know that I have the hottest prospect and probably the most exciting UFC flyweight in front of me. So really nothing changes for me as far as like what's in front of me. I got a gangster that's ready to take my head off and earn his name off of me. So appreciate the matchup, and then also just excited to one, just be in what I think is probably the most exciting matchup in the flyweight division and be aligned on the same flyweight title card as Pantoja and Kai France. So let's get it.
While Royval has fought a who's who of 125ers, Joshua Van actually opened as a -260 favorite on BetOnline AG, with Royval opening as a +220 underdog. With Van looking to pick up the biggest win of his career, and Royval looking to work his way back into title contention, the stakes couldn't be higher for both fighters.